Without political parties, democracy, as we know it, sorry, would be difficult to achieve. Party labels provide cues or party heuristics for voters who don't know the policy position of all candidates. In other words, without political parties, there's no really a way for a person to be able to understand what a candidate is running for. I believe the most popular parties, I don't really know politicians, sorry, are Democrats and Republicans. So without those two labels, we couldn't know which one to side with because there's not like a specific label for them. So with political parties, we can achieve more accurate labels, I believe. The U.S. the U.S. government most often has two party systems, meaning that the only two parties have a serious chance to win national elections. The Diversity law holds the plurality voting voting rules with single member districts, where just one candidate wins each legislative seat has in the United States will result in two party system. Um, I think I got it, but I don't really know how to explain it. Sorry. A distinguishing feature of the contemporary party system is political polarization, in which two major political parties and their supporters have divided into on many issues. In other words, it's basically whenever, let's say your friend wants to go to play soccer, and or your friend wants to play basketball, but there's more like over eight per people who don't want to do that or want to do something similar to it, but doesn't really end up happening like soccer, right? There's like the just passing soccer. There's like playing match between your friends. You can play pickup. You can try to play in a like actual amateur league or etc. Same thing with basketball. A American single member district and plurality system voting limits the electoral prospects of third parties. Other democratic countries use proportional representation where seats are allocated to political parties based on their share of the total voters cast in the election. I really don't understand this. Sorry. Political parties seek to control government and enact their political preference. Basically, a person, well, a lot of people, they want you to play soccer, so somehow they manage that I don't know, your phone, YouTube makes you suggest you soccer content, and then maybe you end up liking soccer. All of the members of political parties are not necessarily only field in their beliefs. Within each party are factors of people who preference differ from one each other. Basically, what I think I understand from this is that you may side with one side or another, but you may not agree with each side's point of view. You might agree with some, you might agree with others, and you might differ from one another. You basically not fully support a side, I guess. Party identification refers to an individual voter's psychological ties with a party. The two major national parties do not draw equal support from members of every social stratum. Basically, um, because there's two political parties, one of the biggest two political parties exists nationwide. That doesn't mean they have support one side and one support the other one. There's many like factors that can influence whether one person sides with this or another person sides with that, the state, the location, or wherever. A variety of group characteristics are associated with a party identification, including race, ethnicity, gender, religion, class, ideology, region, and age. So basically, if you're like a girl, and you're on a lower class and you're five, I don't really think you will side with the same as a 6-year-old country guy who's Christian, or like there's a lot of factors. Or like if you're Mexican and you're a guy and you're high class, upper class, sorry, you might not side with the 5-year-old or with the old guy. Party identification has been linked to wearing blue or red tinted glasses. The color voters understand how political in general, the most important including how to vote in elections. So this is why we see a lot of blue and a lot of red. It's easier for someone to understand such colors rather than just say like political party. You're like, I guess, creating neurological paths in your brain associating a certain side with a certain color. Party identification can breed strong parties identifiers who are more likely to vote, to be contacted about campaigns, and to work for their party. Party activists not only vote but contribute the time, money, and effort to party affairs. So basically, it's like you should really support. I don't know. I like soccer, so I'm just giving soccer examples. It's like you like Messi, so you're just volunteering to the World Cup just to see Messi. So it's basically like, since you're aligned with such political ideas or you like the player, you're just doing whatever to try people to like him too, I guess. Something like that. That's what I understood. Partisanship has a reflection of party identification, has both an ideological or policy component and an emotional component. Basically, it might be because your dad voted this one, you want to also vote the same one, or just because that person is your same religion, you feel like you guys have, I guess, a connection, so you're just gonna vote for him because you guys are both Muslims, you guys are both Christians, etc. Party polarization is growing between Americans who have a strong opposing sentiments, even when there's many areas in which they agree on policy. This polarization, which is especially intense in Congress, reflects negative partition or negative feelings among party nation, party nation, party nations towards members of opposing party, known as affective polarization. Some have argued that partisanship is more like a running tally of performance ability in bringing an expectation of the future based on experiences in the past. This concept of partisanship has running tallies considered one of the idea of retrospective voting. So it's basically because you voted blue or red in the past, you're gonna vote again in the next upcoming elections without like really checking the, I guess, candidates like points of view or ideas or etc. Roughly equal numbers of people identify as Democrats or Republican today, but far more people identify as independent. In fact, the number of people who now identify as independent has reached an all-time high, with young people being the most likely to report identification. Basically, independent is whenever you don't side with either side. You're like maybe in between, maybe towards more the right or left, or more Democrat than Republic, or more blue and red. Social and economic interests do not addressed by two major parties are typically represented by a third party or minor parties. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Parties in elections and governments. Party organizations exist at virtually every level of U.S. government, usually taking the form of committee made of active party members, usually members that are elected at local business meetings called caucus or as part of primary elections. So basically, like a major, you know how it works. Like it's major, maybe you like do something like higher than the major. Well, I think the major is the higher for the city. I don't really know how it works, but basically the rankings of, I guess, power is the major from the city, then the state, the county, or I don't know how it works. The best known examples of committees at national level are Democratic National Committee (DNC) and the Republican National Committee (RNC). The DNC and RNC have each established super PACs. Political Action Committee has critical fundraising organization. Parties and partitions organize the political world and simplify complex policy debates for citizens and elected officials. The term party system refers to the number of parties competing for power, the organization of these parties, the balance of power between and within the coalitions, the social and institutional basis, and the issues around which party competition is organized. Parties form the basic organization for running Congress and every state legislature except for Nebraska, which is non-partisan legislature. In Congress, the Speaker of the House is a party officer. All the members of House take part in the election of Speaker, but the actual election is made by the majority party. The party that holds a majority of seats in the House. The other party is the minority party.